Most people come to me because they want to be great communicators. And I tell them every time that if you want to be a great communicator, there are 3 things that are preventing you from becoming a great communicator. So let's talk about that right here. Welcome to the Golden Hour, 5 a.m. Leadership Lab, and this is where I talk about and I answer questions that my clients ask, and I provide that value in my viewership. So when it comes to being a great communicator, I always say that communication is the highest level of value in the marketplace because the marketplace values great communications. And that's exactly why when you are a great communicator, opportunities flow to you. When you communicate your value well, you are noticed and acknowledged. When you are able to communicate well, you move the masses and you influence others to support your causes. And when you communicate well, it's less and less about your technical prowess and how good you are in implementing and performing. It's less about that, but it's more about how you use your words to connect with your audience and serve them through that connection. So becoming a great communicator, let's talk about the 3 things to avoid if you want to be a great communicator. Number 1 is chasing affirmation and validation. These are the 3 C's. The first C is chasing affirmation and validation. So many people that I work with, and some of my clients are senior leaders in an organization, they are seeking validation from upper management. They're seeking validation from their CEOs, from their board members, from their team members, and so on. When you seek validation, what you're actually saying, in your subconscious mind, what you're actually saying is, I'm not good enough. My ideas aren't good enough. I'm not confident in my skills. I am not confident in my thought leadership. That's what your subconscious mind is saying when you seek validation. Because what does that mean? It means I need someone else to tell me that I'm good enough, then I'll believe I'm good enough. So chasing validation. The other part of this is chasing affirmation. Right? So validation and affirmation. So affirmation means I want someone else to tell me that they like me, and then I'll feel good about myself. Here's what I say. If you don't already feel good about yourself, then it's going to be difficult for others to feel good about you. Because people don't see you through their eyes. They see you through yours. So how do you see yourself? So the more you chase validation and affirmation, the more difficult it is for you to be a great communicator because you will hesitate to say certain things. You will procrastinate to say certain things. You will be scared to say certain things because you'll be constantly being fearful that it may not validate you, that the other person may not agree with you, or that other person may criticize instead of validate. So it's the first blocker of great communications, chasing validation and affirmation. That's the first C. So here's the second C. 3 C's, remember. The second C is ChatGPT and other AI language models. And I get it. AI is everywhere. And most people, maybe everybody, I don't know, is using AI to check their communications. Maybe it's first started out with grammar and spelling mistakes, and then it started growing. Now I got to make sure that it sounds smart. And then, wait, I got to make sure that it sounds like I'm the smartest person in the room. I got to make sure it sounds like grade who is someone at a very advanced reading level. And now it's like, I got to make sure that it sounds poetic. I got to make sure that it sounds really smooth. I got to make sure that it sounds like this other person. So I'm going to put that in the AI. I want to put it in this person's voice, right? And so it never stops. If you are depending on ChatGPT or AI to do your bidding for you, if you're depending and leaning on that to be able to make you sound smart, then when will you develop your own self-confidence? How will you develop your own self-confidence if that becomes a crutch? You see, ChatGPT is designed, it's programmed to serve you depending on how you prompt it. But in the business world, and you work in a business, you work in a company, which is a business, And in leadership contexts, especially if you are in a leadership position or you aspire to be in one, it will require other people to prompt you. So in other words, your senior leaders, your peers, other leaders are going to ask things of you. They're going to ask questions of you. That's the prompt. How are you going to respond? If you've gotten so used to needing to be behind that keyboard and having ChatGPT check over your communications, if that's the only way you feel confident, if that's the only way you feel powerful, if that's the only way you know you're saying the right things, then that can create a liability for you when you're not behind that keyboard. And we're still not in the world yet where you can take the lead in a business function without being constantly behind a keyboard. We're still in the world where we need to be in a room together. Leaders are still flying to be in a room together, to make decisions, to have collaborative discussions, to be in negotiations, to shake each other's hand. That is still important the higher you go and the more influential you become. The question is, are you able to rely on yourself? Are you confident in your speaking ability? Or is your usage and your dependence on ChatGPT and AI, is that disabling you from developing those skills? Don't let that disable you from developing your own skills. Don't be the one that needs to prompt ChatGPT to feel confident. Be the one that others can prompt and you have the confidence to respond powerfully and influentially. So that's the second thing, preventing great communication. So the third C, let's talk about the third C. The third C is copying what other people say. Copying others. Now, you might be in a situation where you have a peer or a leader on your team where maybe you look up to them and you admire them a little bit and you kind of say, well, that's my gold standard on how I want to communicate. We've all done that. Someone we look up to. And they become someone you want to emulate and imitate. And then as a result of that, maybe you kind of pick up a few phrases that they say here and there, pick up a few vocabulary words, their gestures and how they move, and you find yourself emulating it, and then it becomes imitation. And then it becomes copying. And then it becomes taking their ideas, right? It's endless. And you may not go that far, but copying somebody, what that means is when you copy somebody, guess what? You're not there. You're not there because you're trying to be someone else. As long as you're trying to be like someone else, you're trying to be someone else. And when you're trying to be someone else, you're not going to be there. And if you're not there, then who's there? Nobody's there. And if you're not there, it's going to be very difficult for you to know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, then how are you going to become a great communicator? Because now, if you need to copy what someone else says and copy their ideas and copy how they say things, then that becomes your crutch and you're not going to be able to develop your own authentic voice. And the more you copy someone else, you can only be second best at being someone else. You can only be second best. But chances are you're here listening to this because you don't want to be second best. You want to be the best. You want to be the chosen one. You want to be unique. You want to stand out. Because that's what it takes to be visible and influential. So it's not possible to just stand out and be unique if you're trying to copy what someone else says or what someone else does, because then you're not there. So these are the three common, but also the three obstacles that stand in the way of great communication. Comment below, what are your biggest takeaways? And comment below, what are you going to change to become a great communicator?